Welcome to part 2 of tonicization and/or secondary dominance. What would the 5 of 2 be in the key of G? If you can't answer that, please go back to part 1 of tonicization, view or review until you have a full understanding before you continue. For those of you who are still with me, E7 of course would be the 5 of 2 in G, mainly because of those tritones pushing into the A minor chord, which is a 2 chord in G. Another possibility we could use, I take away the root of my 5 of 2, I'm left with a 7 of 2, a G sharp diminished chord. Both share the same tritones and both will take me to the 2 chord in G. Only thing left to be determined on my G sharp diminished chord is which 7 will I use, half or diminished 7. Either way, a 5 of something or a 7 of something will take me to the same chord. So they're totally interchangeable. In fact, they can even be used together, as in something like 5 of 2, 7 of 2, 2 in G. When might I use a 7 of something over a 5 of something? Well, perhaps in a turnaround. Let's say I'm in the key of G and I've just come off an 8-bar verse ending with a 2, 5 into a 1. Well, I could sit there for 4 beats, 1, 2, 3, 4, then go back to perhaps a 5 chord, 1, 2, 3, my pickups into my second verse, which is probably the same as the first verse. How could I create a little more movement? Well, when I'm on my 5 chord, I could consider splitting it between a 2 and a 5, going to the first chord of the next verse. Let's give that a listen. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that created a little more movement in those 2 bars to set me up for coming back into my verse. Still leaves me sitting on my 1 chord for 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4 before I get to my 2 chord. Here it gives me a good opportunity to say, what will take me to the 2 chord? Well, of course the 5 of 2 would, but the 7 would be a nice chromatic move. I could have a tonic chord 1 to a 7 of 2, which would take me up by a half step to the 2 chord, take me back to the 5, and back into my second verse. Let's give that a go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2. So on and so forth. So we got quite a bit of movement in those 2 bars where nothing much was happening before. What 7 did I use on my 7 of 2? Well, actually, I used both of them. I used the half and then the diminished 7 melodically to take me to the 5th of the 2 chord. Let that fall to a flat 9 of my 5 chord, my pickup. Second verse. So that's how it could be used chromatically. I'm in the key of C. I've got 2 bars of C. Nothing much is happening. My 3rd bar is going to take me to the 4 chord, the F. For the first bar, I could let the root fall to the major 7, and then as I enter the 3rd bar, the 4 chord, that could fall the 3rd, and at least create a little movement. Let's give that a listen. We'll add a little melody to that. 2, 3, 4. But with the knowledge of using a 5 of 4, that'll create more energy to push me into the 4 chord. What will I do with the major 7 on the 1 chord? Probably bring it in on the 3rd beat of the 1st bar to create a little movement within that bar. Let's give that a go. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, into my 4 chord. We know that any 5 chord, whether it's the 5 chord in the key or a 5 of something, in this case a 5 of 4, it's a dominant chord. It can be split between a suspension and a resolution, which will create forward movement. Here I've got the tension. When it releases, it pushes my music forward, in this case into the 4 chord, the F. Let's try using a suspension and resolving it on the 3rd beat of the 2nd bar. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, resolve 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3. But we can do more. F is my 4 chord, my target chord. So for a moment, I'm going to think I'm in the key of F. What would my 5 chord be in F? Well, hopefully you would say a C7, which would take me into F. What can I split the 5 chord with? I'm hoping you're going to say a 2, 5 into 1. What was the 2 chord of F? G minor 7, which would take me to the 5 chord, which would take me into the 1 chord of F. Using this information and bringing it back into the key of C, we've got a whole new scenario working for us. What will we label it? Well, we've already labeled the F as the 4 chord. The C7 is going to be the 5 of 4. What am I going to call the G minor chord? Well, it is a 2 chord of F, and what is F? It's the 4 chord. So I'd have to call it the 2 of 4 going to the 5 of 4 going to the 4 chord. Let's enter that into our scenario with our little tune. 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3. You can feel the energy moving into that 4 chord with the help of the 2 of 4 to the 5 of 4 into the 4 chord. On that 5 of 4 that comes in on the 3rd beat, I could split it between a sus and a resolution between the 3rd and the 4th beat of bar 2 and then into the 4 chord. You be the judge. 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2. For those of you who are old enough, there's a great tune that's called The Nearness of You that incorporates that particular structure of a 2 of 4 to a 5 of 4 into the 4 chord, but they work the melody in with it perfectly, and it sounds like this. Great tune. You can see how that scenario of the 2 of 4 to a 5 of 4 into the 4 chord works perfectly with that song. Can I do this with a 5 chord? Well, I mean, I can have a G7 in the key of C, that's my 5 chord, and we already know I can have a 5 of 5. So could I have a 2 of 5 to a 5 of 5 into a 5 chord? Don't think so, because the 2 of 5 would be an A minor chord. Well, A minor is already a chord found in the key of C, it's the 6th chord. So no, you're not going to hear it as a 2 of 5 going to a 5 of 5 going to the 5, you're going to hear it as a 6th chord. Observe. 6th chord or a 2 of 5. 5 of 5, first inversion to the 5. So no, you're going to hear it as a 6th chord rather than a 2 of the 5 chord. We know we don't tonicize the 7 chord because it's diminished, but what about the 2 chord, the 3 chord, or the 6 chord? Can we use the same principles on those chords? Absolutely. However, that's more than enough for this tutorial. Let's give you an opportunity to digest what we've discussed When you have a handle on that, I'll meet you up for our final installment in part 3 of tonicization secondary dominants, when we take a closer look at the approach to the minor chords in major. Take care, bye for now.